Hello everybody and good morning. Welcome to the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show, and Jeff will be joining me here in just a moment. But we are on the last chapter of Grant Cardon's Be Obsessed or Be Average. So, chapter 13, last chapter. Obsession forever. The secret to sustaining obsession is straightforward. So focus your efforts on everything that will fuel you for the long run, and ignore and eliminate or block out anything that drains you or causes you doubt. So eliminate all distractions, really. We live in a society where there are a lot of them. So recognizing what they are and what is distracting you, and then going forward and focusing on the things that are actually going to get you to where you want to go. Shamala, how are you? Hello, everybody. There we go. So take responsibility for what you pay attention to, and remember what and whom you pay attention to is worth more than spending what you spend on with your dollars. So money, power, fame, and success all follow attention. So what you give the most attention is going to grow. So the problem with these things is that they're also like jealous lovers, and they need constant attention, or they will leave you. Success is that way. If you ignore it for too long, and the things that you need to do in your business, like we talked about momentum yesterday. If you build up momentum, if you just drop off and don't do any work for an extended period of time, you're going to lose that momentum. So how you invest your time is more important than how you invest your dollars. So in time, you can't get time back. You can make more money, but you can't get time back. But you want to make sure you're spending that time wisely. Always raise and refuel your obsessions. Oh, hello, by the way. Fire needs wood, and obsession needs to be constantly fueled as well. So the ultimate fuel to help you stay obsessed with your obsessions is your maturing and changing purposes throughout your life. So being obsessed with your sense of purpose across all parts of your life will allow you to accomplish all things you desire, and become aware of the things that maybe you couldn't see before. So when clarifying what you should be obsessed with, these are a couple of questions that you want to ask yourself. Number one, it improves the outcome of your life and others' lives. And number two, it moves you to reveal more of your potential. So what is your potential? How much am I capable of? What would it mean to me to fulfill my potential? So continue reaching toward your full potential is the kind of fuel that will allow you to avoid getting lost, complacent, satisfied, or dying prematurely. Now that's his words. So some other questions that you might want to ask yourself when you're trying to figure this out is, who am I doing this for? Are you doing it to please your spouse? Are you doing it because you want like a family member to be proud of you? Do you want to be seen in a different light by your peers? Figure out why exactly it is that you want to do it. How many will benefit from this? Is this going to benefit more than just one person? What's going to keep me fueled to do more? What if anything were possible? When I accomplish this, what is next? What am I doing that is purpose driven? What else am I capable of doing that I haven't done? What have I always wanted to do that I have forgot about? This is where writing down your goals each year and checking on them throughout the year actually helps, because there's certain things that I thought I wanted years ago that I look at now and I'm like, oh, I just remembered this was something that I wanted to do and I just completely forgot. So it's good to look back at those things every once in a while just to see where you came from. Are those things around me on the same page? Are they going in the same direction? Who is encouraging me to live the life of purpose, and what is a good role model for what I am attempting, or who is a good role model, not what. Who around me is not living a life of purpose, and what can I do to help others to achieve their purpose? So your purpose will continue to grow and mature and evolve as you do, regardless of how big your dreams are now. Other possibilities within your potential and will be revealed when you start heading towards that target that you set for yourself. And also meeting different people will also open those doors as well. The more people you end up meeting who have gone out and done different things, you might be like, somebody else might open a door that you didn't even realize was there. So that's why making connections as well is part of that. So obsession hacks: reach up for new friends. So speaking of new friends, so make sure you're reaching up, not sideways and not down. So surround yourself with people who have achieved more than you. Attend events where power collects. So anytime that you're out is really a time where you can connect with somebody. Now, don't be a creep when you're doing this, because some people, I can always tell if somebody's in network marketing because they always come off way too strong. And to be perfectly honest, to a normal person, it creeps them out, especially when it's a guy approaching. Now, we've been in this for so long, I know immediately if somebody's in network marketing based on how they approach me, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Now, since I recognize it, it doesn't creep me out, and I'm like, I understand what you're doing. However, if you were to approach any other woman in this mall with what you just did, she would immediately be getting out the pepper spray. It's that bad. So when you're going out and meeting new people, Jeff and I like to stick to something that we call form. You may have heard it before, but we like to use friendly, occupation, recreation, and then the message. Hello, how are you? How are you doing today? What do you do for work? I noticed that you're really dressed up. Or did you just come from work? Recreation, what do you like to do when you're not working? What are you going to do when you get out of this quarantine? I know we're not going to be talking with people so much face to face, but we're starting to slowly be let out. So asking that question, and then the message be like, hey, this might not be something that's for you. However, can I share with you what I do? So that way, if you run into the right person, you could refer me. Do you see how smooth that is? I do it with a lot of people. I even do it for a holistic health business. And it's a very easy, non-threatening way to come to somebody. And you could do this to someone who's a woman, a man, somebody who's young, somebody who's old, and it doesn't matter how successful they are. It could be somebody who just works at a gas station, or this could be somebody who owns multiple homes in real estate. It doesn't matter. You could get it in front of a person by using that. Vacation abundance. So if you're going to go on vacation, overdose on it. Go for a long, spectacular trip, stay in the best hotels, fly first class, eat at the best restaurants, and treat yourself like royalty and spare no expense. If you can't afford to do it first class for an extended period of time, you aren't ready to go. Because vacations are also an opportunity to grow yourself, your business, and your network. So you need to be in places where other obsessed people gather. And sorry, but the hotel that offers free breakfast in the morning is actually not a place that you really want to be. So Grant likes to go on vacation, and he also does work on vacation. He's like, also, we do have a lot of fun. He's like, just because I'm still working doesn't mean that we don't go do fun things. He's like, these are the times where you can go connect with people. And actually, we've met quite a few really cool people on a lot of business trips that we've gone on. So it's always an opportunity to connect with somebody. Mentor up. It's worth it to work with a coach and somebody who can take you to another level. And Grant even has a couple coaches. He's like, these are just the people who could show me the blind spots that are in what I'm doing and things that I might not be seeing. It's always good to have that one person who's going to show you that. Now remember, whoever your coach or mentor is, make sure they're doing the things that you want to go do. Just being you want people who are good people, but just being a good person is not enough when you're trying to accomplish something. We were actually just talking to another friend of ours who has their business, and he's like, I have to talk to somebody else who is entrepreneurial, because if I talk to somebody who's just has a job or like normal people, they don't get it. So you want to make sure that you're talking with the people about these things who understand what it is that you're trying to go do. Shop outside of your reach. So this is something that Grant likes to do, and this is completely personality driven most of the time. Like the physical things that you like. There might be a watch that you really like, a boat, a car, just something that is outside of your price range that you really, really want. And a lot of people put them on a dream board, which is really popular in network marketing. But again, depending on your personality type, that might not drive you, or it will really drive you. But it's also good to have that perspective, because once you do hit a certain point and then you look at that thing, you might eventually look at that and be like, I could totally do that. Because at one point, 6 years ago, when I first got started in business, $100 was a lot of money to me. But that is a lot of money to a college student, and I grew up on a farm working for $25 a day picking rock in the middle of a field. So my perspective of a lot of money was very different. Now today, I'm like, $100, that's one appointment. I'm like, I could totally do that. I'm like, or it's one sale in our company, and I'm like, I could totally do that. Let's go. I'm like, it's mine. So having that different perspective. So invest in education. Grant invests 10% of his time and income on training programs, conferences, coaches, books, and a lot more. So most people don't make the time to learn for more learning, because their previous educational experiences prove to be a waste of time. Education is totally different outcome when you get to choose what you are learning and know what you need to learn to improve yourself. And remember, time is no longer an excuse, because the obsessed make the time, not excuses. So, hello, good morning. So that is something that you want to look into. What types of programs would you like to go to? Like, this is why we're doing this show. Reading all these books. It was more so for us to keep us on track, because we realized when we were doing these shows that we stayed on top of reading our books better, and because we had to. So that's the reason for doing this show, and it really keeps us on track. But we also made it a point where, like, we want to go see these different presenters. We want to go to these different events. We went to the Grant Cardon 10X conference this year, which we've been wanting to go to for quite some time. So we made the time to go do that and go see the different speakers, because it also gives you a different perspective. So pay attention to your physical health as well. It's important to keep your mind sharp, and your physical health is just as important. So something that we teach, Jeff and I are both naturopathic doctors, and this is something that we teach to a lot of people that we consult with. There's 5 areas of your health. Number 1 is nutrition. What are you eating? Are you getting the right stuff? Number 2, hydration. Are you drinking enough water? Number 3, exercise. Number 4, sleep. And number 5, emotions. If you're not doing the first 4 correctly, your emotions are going to be out of whack. So also, when you're not functioning properly, you're not going to be able to focus long enough to be able to get what you want to get done. So there are things that you want to pay attention to. Also, how you do anything is how you do everything. And also, your physical appearance will also tell people how well could you be committed. People who go to the gym every single day get looked at differently than a person who's 30 pounds overweight. Now, that's not to be body shaming or anything, but there is a difference. So that's something that you want to pay attention to. Just paying attention to your health in general is also going to help with your productivity, because you're not going to feel motivated when you're tired all the time, or if you're not feeling good. Going to the gym and exercising and eating correctly is actually going to help give you energy. So do more than read this book. You need to actually follow through with what he teaches. It's not just a book that you want to just read and then put down and don't apply any of it. There are some good things in this book that will help you guys and will benefit you in the future. So that's what I got out of this last chapter. Jeff, what did you get out of this chapter?
I don't know.
No?
I'm kidding. I mean, it goes along the lines of you have to keep building your dream. What happens to most people is they set a dream and then they lower it, 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 and then finally they're here, and then they get bored. Simply because your basic human need, the first two basic human needs to every person on the planet. Number one is the need for security. They need to know that tomorrow, the world is going to be just as crazy as it is now. And two, that you're going to have variety. So what most people do is they have these dreams. Oh my gosh, I want this, I want this, I want this. But then they make a bunch of irrational decisions. Irrational decisions like, I want this kind of car and I want this kind of lifestyle, but I choose a job that makes $10 an hour. Then people then get into the blame. Well, why can't I have this? Brad, what's going on? Why can't I get this? Why can't I have this? And they start lowering their dream down to meet their income. So what Grant talks about is, or what I got out of really the whole book, is Grant's like, you have to up your standard. Tony Robbins talks about this. You want to increase your standard of living, and by increasing your standard of living, you increase your overall lifestyle. And that doesn't mean necessarily that you have a better life. It just means it's a better lifestyle. And what I mean by that is just because you drive a nicer car doesn't make your life completely better. But if your car's broken down, it would. Luxury-based things don't necessarily make life better, but more money can make life easier because your choices are different. So that's one of the things I got out. He's like, you're able to make decisions faster. You're able to choose the things you want rather than having to sit and figure out, oh my gosh, let me check the budget. Let me check the savings account. Let me check this. Now let me weigh all my options to see what I have to give up to get this. It's very different when you have enough money just to go do it. And there's more than enough money, and money's coming in, and you don't have to worry about that aspect. So one thing that I've learned from a guy who, made more money than Grant did, is basically you want to continuously expand your dreams. You want to go out and have those new things on the list that you're running after, not because you're materialistic. I have some people, oh my gosh, that's so materialistic. And, it's funny when it comes from, certain people. They're like, that's materialistic, and you're not supposed to run from materials and this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, yeah, but that's what y'all talk about all the time. Why you can't pay, why you can't get the new jacket, the new purse, the new car. That's what people go after. It's not a bad thing to have things. It's a bad thing for things to own you. You can own them, but it's not a good thing for things to own you. And if you don't know what that means, hang out with some broke people for just a little bit and they'll tell you all about it. Why they can't and why they shouldn't, and my car and blah, blah, blah. So what I got out of this is continuously expand your dream. How do you do that? Well, to start out with, do you have a list of things that you want to go after? And here's the thing. It's almost like a bucket list. It doesn't have to be physical things. It doesn't have to be material things. It could be a trip. It could be an experience. It could be a sporting event if we ever have those again. Certain things like that. Hold on. I'm getting a text from somebody who is here. Work stuff. So that's really what I got out of it. And how you do that is you make a list of all your dreams. So this actually comes from the achievement system that I learned from David Bird, and then I altered it slightly because it just made more sense. He worked, on average, David Bird told us this, he worked with people, he's a professional coach, was rated one of the top 5 coaches in the world when he was doing it full-time, worked for a company called LMI, Leadership Management Institute, brought in $750 million as the president of that company in 11 years in coaching. I mean, that's some significant money in coaching, close to $1 billion in coaching. So what I realized from him is he wrote this out, and he said it starts with a dream. He goes, you really want to write down all your experiences, everything that you want to accomplish. Because he dealt with people who made over $500,000, what I realized is those people are already high achievers. They have the ability to categorize and compartmentalize. I don't even know the word. But basically, they're able to put things in chunks. So when he gave us the list and he told everybody to write down 100 things, what I realized is most people couldn't do it. So what I did is I categorized it, because people can think in categories. And what I did is I created a bunch of top 10 lists. The top 10 things you want out of each area of life. It made it much, much easier. And I put this together in actually it's in a book now. I just haven't published it. So it's 10 things that you want in each area. Once you get done with that, then it drops down. It's almost like a funnel. It drops down to the next thing where you get more specific, where you go, okay, what time frame would I want some of this stuff? Let's pick out one thing out of each area that you'd want to accomplish in the next 2 to 5 years. What's the most important thing that you'd want to accomplish in each one of the 10 categories in the next 10 years? And it drops down and you write that list of 10. So this is your top 10 list of your top 100 that you want to accomplish in the next 2 to 5 years. Then it drops down to your vision statement. Your vision statement is where do you want to be in a certain moment in time. So David Bird said pick 5 years, because 5 years is long enough where you can accomplish a ton, but it's short enough where you still have life to live. So that's how he kind of wrote this out. And he's like, what would you want to accomplish in the next 2 to 5 years? Let's pick 5, write the vision statement, and you're writing it as if you've accomplished the stuff. What is life going to look like 5 years from now if you've accomplished all this stuff? How are you going to do it? With who are you going to do it? And what does your life look like? It doesn't have to be realistic. It just has to be motivating, which is kind of cool, because sometimes it's like, well, I really want to meet these certain people, and maybe what you do for a living isn't going to allow you to meet those certain people, but the vision of meeting those certain people would drive you, would build, this internal inspiration to go out and do it. From there, you want to write down a mission and a purpose statement. Your mission is basically how you're going to go about doing this. Your purpose is why you're going to do it. Once you have those things, and I know this seems like super detailed. I mean, this is a guy who made, $1,000 an hour. If you make $1,000 an hour, you're specific. If you make $1,000 an hour, you're detailed. If you make $1,000 an hour, you have to produce results. Like, could you imagine charging somebody $1,000 an hour and then be like, yeah, this really isn't working out for me. Oh, well, you just have to stick with me for the next couple years and we'll figure it out. I mean, he has to produce results. So that's why it's a little bit more detailed, and I changed it because his version was just accomplish these things, and they really didn't have, some of them didn't have any detailed instructions to it. It's like, if you're not smart enough to figure it out, you're not going to get any of this anyway. I mean, that's just the way that I interpreted it. That's not what David Bird said. So, mission, purpose, then you're going to come down and have one goal for the year. He goes, the guy who taught him, which was Paul J. Myers, which was a recorded billionaire, owned over 50 companies. He made $80 million at 80 years old. That's a pretty good, round off number. 80 million is what he earned that year. Or maybe it was just over 100. No, it was just over 100 million. That's what it was. It was 140 million at 80 years old, which is a pretty good clip, 10 million a month plus. So how did he do that? He sold a condo a resort that he owned. I want to say it was in Cancun. It might have been Cozumel. I can't remember. But they invited a bunch of people down, and he's like, hey, everybody come outside real quick. And all of a sudden there was a fireworks show. And they're like, what is this for? He's like, for you guys. And they're like, no. Like, what event is it for? He's like, for you guys. Just coming down, hanging out. So he had hired a group of people and a barge in the ocean that kind of came by and lit off all the fireworks. So that's dreaming on a very different level. This guy had money, and he basically, Paul J. Meyer, set one goal a year. And he's like, I've accomplished every goal I've ever set. And I mean, that doesn't seem possible, right? But he's like, the reason I accomplished every goal is how I set the goal. Mm-hmm. The way in which he set the goal is he set the goal with, what do I need to achieve this year to be on track to hit my 5-year vision statement? And he would pick the most important thing that he would need to hit that year. This is different for everybody, but when you're looking at it from a business aspect, if you look back at the books about focusing on and achieving, you're usually going to focus on a dollar amount that you want to hit. That's a good goal. Obviously, if you're in sales, if you're in marketing, if you work at McDonald's and you pick a dollar amount that's way above what anybody makes there, the only way you're going to accomplish that is leaving McDonald's. So, I mean, you kind of have to use some logic behind this and some intelligent thought process, which isn't used very often, especially today. But you have to use some intelligent thought process of how you're going to do this. If you're in sales, if you're in marketing, you can increase your sales and kind of hit these numbers. But what a lot of people do, they miss their goals. If you've ever done this before, if you've ever set goals, they miss their goals for two reasons. First of all, because they don't have a system that bypasses their natural human instinct, and your natural human instinct is designed to keep you in exactly the place you're at, if you don't know that already. That's one of the reasons why people never accomplish their goals. They'll have all these goals and then never accomplish them. They'll talk about their goals and never accomplish them because they don't actually have a system that will allow them to track and push themselves outside their comfort zone to actually achieve. The second reason is they pick the wrong goal. They pick the wrong goal, and that's a whole nother topic and conversation. So that's just a little bit, when I sit down and I coach somebody, that's some of the questions I'm asking. I'm like, what are you going after? Why are you going after that? Why is that important? Is that the most important thing? Does that make sense to run after that instead of these other things? Which one, if we had to, create the pyramid of importance, which one is at the top? Which one do you absolutely positively have to hit that will give you everything else on this list? Most people don't think like that. I didn't think like that. Like David Berg kind of broke all this down and kind of showed us a lot of these things. But that's how, when somebody comes to me, I don't care if it's traditional business. I don't care if it's relationship. I mean, it's kind of like everything can fit into this structure and you can go after and get what you want. But that's some of what I got out of Be Obsessed, Be Average, is constantly increase your dream. Constantly go after. Be obsessed, and this is my thing, be obsessed not to be average. Be obsessed not to be average. That was what I got out of the book. That's like my one quote that I wrote down to myself. And if you can do that, and you can always achieve at a higher level, I want to say it was Tony Robbins, but I can't remember. He said, if you can do better, should you? Or if you could do better, should you? And the answer is yes. So that's what I have for this book. It was amazing. Can't wait until we get to the next one. So the next book, did you already go over that?
Not yet. So the next book that we're going to be going over is by John Maxwell, which is Winning with People. So if you guys would like to subscribe to the link that I'm going to put in the comments below, we are going to be taking chapters on each chapter that we go through in each of these books, and we will email them to you if you would like them. I do recommend you guys actually buying these books though, because there's certain things that we're not going to go over, and you might find something else that might help you in the books as well. But if you just want the Cliff Notes, subscribe. Also, we do have a YouTube channel, which you can find by searching MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. And we have them on a playlist so you can watch them in order. Or if there's a book that you would like to go back to that we've already went over already, you could go watch those as well. So with that, I think we are done for the day, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Yep.